Today's rom-com Ganda video is a bit different from the rest because you see, even when I saw Love and Basketball as a child, I swooned in certain parts, yes, but a part of me, a not so minute part of me, watched the film and walked away from it enraged at the fact that we're meant to see Q as some sort of catch when my prepubescent brain most certainly didn't read him that way. The only difference is that child Noria didn't really have the words to fully explain what she felt was wrong. Present Noria, however, finally put the right words to it. Love and Basketball isn't a romance, it is horror. Sheer, unmitigated horror. Now, if this is your first time finding my channel, hi, I'm Noria, and welcome to Romcom Ganda Tuesdays, where I pick a romcom I watched as a child, or in certain cases, wanted to watch as a child and never got around to doing so. Looking at you, Bridget Jones. Anyway, I do rewatches of romcoms from our childhood and view them with my now adult lens to realize that things were most certainly not as rosy as I thought them to be. Sometimes I walk away still loving the film, albeit with the realization that so much was wrong with it. Hello, 10 things I hate about you. And sometimes I walk away wishing I could bleach my eyes and go back into the past to shake younger me for not having better standards. See you never, wedding planner. I have a whole playlist of videos if you're interested in seeing me take on other films. And of course, I am taking suggestions. So if there's a rom-com you think should make the list, please drop them in the comments. I will get to your request soon, I promise. And with that said, let's get on with the rest of the video. As always, there will be timestamps. So if you want to skip over my synopsis and go straight to my thoughts, that's always an option available to you. Oh, and yes, I know that Love and Basketball is more romantic drama than rom-com, but it still fits the general idea for rom-com Ganda, hence why I am talking about it. Okay, Love and Basketball focuses on the characters of Monica Wright and Quincy McCall in what is meant to be an epic love story split in 4 quarters because, it's basketball. Also because it's meant to signify the different core moments in their lives. The first quarter, which opens in 1981, sees a young Monica Wright, played by Killer Pratt. Yes, the Killer Pratt of Dr. Dolittle. Anyway, young Monica is new to the neighborhood and stumbles on a young Quincy McCall, played by Glendon Chapman, who is shooting hoops with his friends. He is talented, which is to be expected from the son of a pro basketball player, and is clearly the king of his crew. However, the game is stalled a bit as they are one-man short, and so when Monica shows up, they are down for it, although they are surprised since word was that their new neighbor only had girls. Monica has on a hat and nothing physically gave her away at that point. When she does take off the hat, however, to play, they are bummed out. Quincy declares that girls can't play basketball and she responds that she can ball better than his ass, which, to be fair, she does prove. And when things get heated during the match, Quincy, during their roughhousing, accidentally pushes her. She falls and scars her face. Monica doesn't mind, of course. The film has her quite clearly slotted into the tomboy category, but her mother, who is more the prim and proper housewife, complete with a scene where her husband asks her to help him choose the most suitable shirt he should wear, and when she does, proceeds to ask her to iron both shirts anyway, just in case he changes his mind, and she agrees to do so with a smile. That type of housewife. Her mother is upset at what would be a potential scar on her face, but Monica isn't bothered. Meanwhile, over at the McCalls, Quincy is attempting to write an apology letter using block lettering as his bit of calligraphy. But it's frustrating as so he mutters that he can't do this shit. His father immediately turns from smiling at his mother to asking him what he told him about the word. Now, regular people would think he's talking about Quincy's use of the word shit. However, his focus is on his use of the word can't, because in Zeke McCall's world, real men do not use the word can't. After that delightful bit of toxic masculinity, Quincy alongside his mother shows up to the Wright household bearing gifts. Whilst their mothers walk off together for some house seeing, Quincy and Monica are left alone, where he shares his dreams of wearing the number 22 jersey like his father, and Monica wants jersey number 32 in honor of Magic, who is her favorite basketball player. The film has made it quite clear that Monica's dream is and always has been to make it to the NBA. Quincy's dream, on the other hand, is to go beyond his father's legacy. This delineation is very important to the story and their romance, and I will come back to it in a bit when I'm sharing my general thoughts. Anyway, the night before, Monica's mother hands her the dress that she has to wear for her first day at school, whilst her sister, Lena, who is played by the brilliant Regina Hall. God damn it! Talk about the woman of my dreams, Regina, marry me. Honestly, though, and quick side note, this movie was teeming with amazing black women. Monica's mom is played by Alfred Woodard. Debbie Morgan played Quincy's mother. We got appearances from Gabrielle Union and Tyra Banks. It is brilliant stuff. Anyway, back to the movie. Lena does Monica's hair, and the next morning, Quincy's waiting to bike with her to school. When she comes out in her dress, he is stunned and eventually asks her to be his girl, which might seem sudden, but the film does show how much he idolizes his father, and eavesdropping on his mom and his dad in bed together seems to have him wanting a girl to call his own. Agrees. They share their first kiss. It is short, it is sweet, and not a moment after it is over, they fight again because Quincy cannot let go of that toxic bullshit, and when he demands that Monica ride on his bike because he's the man and that's how his father drives his mother around. Remember what I said about him idolizing his father? We'll come back to that in a bit. Monica, though, doesn't budge, and next thing they are throwing insults at each other, setting the record for world's shortest relationship, and they start throwing hands again. Monica, though, gets in a couple of licks, which I wholeheartedly support and I appreciate. We then skip over to the second quarter, which is in 1988. It is 7 years later, and Monica and Quincy are both basketball players at Crenshaw High School. Quincy is the star basketball player. Not gonna lie, he moves like a beast. Damn it. Monica is the captain of the girls' basketball team, and although she's also very talented, she has to deal with misogynistic treatment whereby she can't get upset during plays. When she does, she's benched. A situation that upsets her even further since scouts are present and she hopes to get into her dream school, USC, on a basketball scholarship. Quincy, on the other hand, doesn't have to worry about a thing. He's popular both with the students, his coach, and the scouts, as universities are crawling all over to try and get him to choose them. His father, though, manages it all and wants Quincy to keep a cool head and focus on getting an education. A situation that is a tad bit difficult because, I repeat, he is popular, which means that the girls are all over him. A situation that clearly gets to Monica, who is in love with him, even though they are still bickering like they are kids, and she turns to slut shaming the girls in a way that always has me side-eyeing her in the scenes. Like, girl, what the hell is wrong with you? Anyway, Quincy is spoiled for choice and doesn't know who to take to their upcoming senior dance. Gabrielle Union, Shawnee, already slipped Monica a note to pass on to Quincy for her, which Monica does, but not before she slut shames her to Kingdom Come. Meanwhile, Lena, Monica's sister, remember, who is now in college, got someone from her college to agree to go to the dance with Monica, which, side note, I can't be the only one who can't fathom this, right? Because, like, the minute I entered university, you would not catch me dead at a party with secondary school students. Like, what? Anyway, the dude agreed because Lena promised that her sister looks like her. So we know why he's going to a high school dance. Still creepy, still skeevy. But after Monica's last game, at which the coach for USC was present, and even though she tried her best to control her emotions, things got heated at the last possible second and her coach again benched her. Monica's emotions are all haywire and the dance was exactly what she needed. And just as Lena promised, she's all made up and looks fantastic in a dress, which it's Sana Lathan. Of course, she's gorgeous in a dress. Even as she slums all tomboy, she's so pretty and so relatable, because that's how I sat for so long and my mother kept screaming, "They can't see your panties," to make me remember to sit properly like a lady every damn time. Monica might be looking absolutely stunning, but she's very uncomfortable in a dress until she spots Quincy, who did go to the dance with Gabrielle Union's Shawnee, and who is stunned to see Monica all dressed up. He tries chatting her up. Shawnee shows up and makes a dig about not knowing that Nike made dresses. Monica scoffs, waits for Quincy to call out Shawnee for the statement. He does not. She heads to the dance floor with her date and then proceeds to do the sequence I always hate when it pops up. That old thing of one half of a couple wanting the other and looking at each other whilst they are dancing with someone else. I hate it. Monica eventually makes it home where she sees a letter from USC waiting for her. She's scared of possibly opening it and seeing a rejection, but thankfully Quincy was already at home and she does the thing that is their thing where she calls out to him. He comes out through his window and she hands him the letter to help her check. He does. Confirms that she did get into USC. He goes in for a hug. She kisses him. He kisses her back. And they have sex. It is her first time, and movie makes it a point to have it be as soft and gentle as possible, complete with Maxwell's voice playing in the background. Chef's kiss. The soundtrack for this film, perfection. The third quarter sees them as college freshmen. Quincy is still the promising newcomer on the block, whilst Monica is struggling on the USC female basketball team as their head coach, Ellie, seems to have it in for her. A situation that gets even more tempestuous when the sophomore on the team, who is the starting point guard, a position that Monica eventually hopes to get, informs Monica that she was a second place recruit, as the girl that USC actually wanted on the team got pregnant, and so they had to look for someone else in the last minute. Things on Quincy's side are looking mighty rosy up until his father drops a bomb on him. Someone is suing him in a paternity suit. His father looks him dead in the eye and denies the claim, and Quincy believes him until he gets home and his mother shows him the proof that clearly spell out the fact that his father has been having an affair. That news absolutely breaks and devastates him. Remember what I said at the start? He is a character. He's someone who idolizes his father. And so Quincy starts to spiral at about the same time when Monica has found her footing and is proving to be a great member on the team and possibly might make the starting lineup. When Quincy sits with her to chat after he learns of his father's affair, she's there for him. However, she also mentions that their coach has them on curfew, and if she breaks it, she will not be able to start the game. Quincy lets her off and all is seemingly okay, except he continues to spiral, messing up his plays on the court, showing up to parties drunk, and even starts heavily flirting with other women. When Monica confronts him about that, they have a fight. Quincy points out that she wasn't there, that she prioritizes basketball over his pain, and he proceeds to break up with her, which, God, I have thoughts, a ton of them, and I will get to them shortly. The fourth quarter, it is now 1993, so 5 years since their breakup in their freshman year. Monica is currently in Barcelona playing with her Spanish team for the International Women's Basketball Association, IWBA. It's the finals, and although the opposing team is headed by her starting sophomore senior from USC, the one whose place Monica ended up taking, Monica's team wins the championship. Whilst reminiscing with her old teammates, Monica wonders about returning home, although her old teammates, right, point out that they can only play ball internationally. There's no option for them back home except to take on a boring 9 to 5. Quincy, on the other hand, is trying to make it. He decided to drop out of school and play and go pro, and has been trying to do so for the last 5 years, making his way to play for the Lakers like his father did. Except in his last game, he falls and tears his ACL. Monica shows up at the hospital bearing gifts, informing him that basketball stopped being fun, and so she quits. It looks like she's about to ask if they can get together again when Quincy's fiancé walks in. It is Tyra Banks, you all. Monica leaves disappointed, and when she gets home, she confronts her mother about her mom's inability to stand up for herself. They talk, and eventually her mother encourages Monica to chase her dreams, which is needed at this point because Monica decided to give up her sneakers and basketball for heels and an attempt at a job with a bank. But with her mother's encouragement, she tries getting together with Quincy, who is set to be married in 2 weeks. I am having wedding planner flashbacks. My God, why do films do this? Oh my God. Anyway, she challenges Quincy to a game, one where she's playing for his heart. Quincy, though, goes all out and wins, and while she walks away defeated, he calls out to her with a all or nothing. She smiles, They kiss. We fast forward a couple of years. I say most likely a couple of years because Quincy and Monica are now married with a daughter. But most importantly, Monica is playing in the WNBA, which would put that moment in 1996, showing that she did fulfill her dream to play in the NBA. Like I said, even as a child, although I enjoyed parts of this film, I found myself very upset with what I was watching, even though I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong. As an adult, I now know that the problem is that I went into Love and Basketball expecting it to be a romance, and what we were instead served with is a horror film, because this is a film about the terror of loving someone more than they love you. This is what is at the heart of a lot of what happened within this film. Monica loves Q, has loved him since they were children, and although he claims to love her, and I say claims because by the gods, he has a very funny way of showing it, he still doesn't love her quite as much as she loves him. And I don't know about you, but that is something that still terrifies me till date. This deep and intense fear that I would love someone way more than they love me, giving them all the power in our relationship, whereby they get to treat me and my feelings as disposable because I don't have as much weight with them as they do with me. And we see this with Monica and Quincy time and again. After the news about his dad drops and he starts spiraling, he shows up to parties already drunk, flirting with other women while she's still there. When she goes to see him after a game, one where her coach called her in because the starter had an injury and it was her chance to step in, the first major game for her, and she wins it. It wasn't even present at her game. Matter of fact, when she goes to see him at his apartment, he hugs another girl, looks Monica dead in the eye and tells her, "We're about to go get some food. Wanna come?" The way I hissed through my teeth. Amadio have fire your yash for there. And you would think that that situation is one that would have Monica walking away forever, holding on to her dignity and self-respect. Right? Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, because you see, that is the horrifying thing about loving someone more than they love you. You can't break away. You are more invested in this than they are. You have more skin in the game. And Q uses it, spinning some bullshit about how it was all her fault and she didn't have time for him, and finishes up by saying that they should break up. And immediately, Monica starts begging, asking him not to do it, that whatever she did, they can fix it. And I kept screaming, "You did nothing wrong. Sis, get up. Get up," at my screen, because where is your dignity? Where is your self-respect? Like, sure, Q probably was a fantastic lover. I mean, Maxwell was playing, so you know it was good. But still, dignity, self-respect, damn it. This is also a film that filled me with that slowing, creeping, terrifying sensation that you get. That is your insecurity, your deep-rooted fear that you don't deserve the person you're with, that their attention or time which they've given you is one that they could just as easily take away. I think the fact that the film kept showing Q as being this popular sports star, and then there's Monica with her tomboyish ways, who sees the type of women that Q likes and gets together with, and who is envious and jealous of them because that can never be her. And rather than move on from that, she stays within that love, loving him from afar, which meant that when he does come around to notice her, and mind you, this only happens when she dresses up both times, she's utterly lost in him. Now, am I just a tad bit happy, beyond pleased, that the film still had her keep her focus on basketball? Yes. I was so worried that she would lose herself and her identity once she and Q were together. So having her not do that, having that central to their conflict in their relationship together, made me very happy. Was I unhappy, however, that she felt she had to beg this man to not break up with her? Yep. Was I unhappy that because of Quincy, she lost her joy and happiness and love for the game? Yes. Unfortunately, we can't get everything that we want. But the fact that the film did have her at crucial, critical moments maintain her love for basketball made me very happy. But as I was saying, there is such a marked contrast in that he's always surrounded and she's always alone. And I understood why it was a core thing she was terrified about. And the fact that Q knew that and purposefully got with another girl, the type of girl that she isn't, that he only pays attention to before, to hurt her, to punish her for choosing basketball over him. It's just, it made me so infuriated. Not the fact that he did, of course. I even understand why he would. No, what made me so angry was that the film justified it and had her begging him. Even up until the end, he never apologized. He simply breezed over it, saying that he was hurt and upset about his dad and they didn't trust anyone else. And the fact that he was saying this after he had healed and moved on, but she was still stuck and in love with him, felt like I had a fishbone stuck in my throat and I just couldn't get it down. It was that type of uncomfortable feeling. Because having her be so lost in him with zero self-respect, this same woman who raged at her mother for never standing up for herself with her dad, when at the heart of it, she was doing the same with Q, made me so infuriated. That final basketball game was meant to be sweet and romantic, and all a part of my brain could fixate on was the fact that this film legit has my girl groveling for this man. She was in fact begging him to be with her through this game, and I am just over here like, he gaslit you when you all broke up, forcing you to move your attention to that and beg him to stay instead of staying rightfully mad at his ass for cheating on you, and now you're begging him to choose you instead. What? This film is propaganda on your first love is your forever love. And I call bullshit because usually your first love ain't shit. Maybe you're one of the lucky few who caught a good one young, but usually it takes maturing to know who you are and be aware of who suits you best. And that childhood love usually isn't it. Q ain't shit. And I resent that this film tried to make us feel or think otherwise. I mean, do I understand how he was able to bamboozle her? Yes, I do. As a kid, I could see why he was upset. Briefly, I even thought it was right to be. I couldn't really see things from her perspective when I was younger. For Q, it felt like his life was spiraling and she wouldn't reach out her hand to save him. Growing up is realizing that expecting your 19-year-old girlfriend to be your savior and therapist is several shades of fucked up. And if she had listened to him and done what he wanted and followed through with him, both his life and hers would have been ruined irrevocably. There is nothing quite as terrifying as falling in love with your op, with someone who believes that their dreams matter more than yours. And to be fair, Q let both Monica and us, the viewers, know the first time we met him. The minute he told his friends when they were kids shooting ball that all she can hear is dog whistles, I was like, damn, this boy has been trashed since he was a little sprout. And when she told them she was going to be the first girl in the NBA, the little fucker said, I'll be in the NBA. You're going to be my cheerleader. And we should have realized it. Like, sure, they were kids and he was just talking trash. But the fact that he knew she had been ignored in the team, he knew how hard a coach was riding her. He knew this was an opportunity she couldn't afford to give up, and he resented her for not doing so. If it croaks like an op, walks like an op, smells like an op, baby, that is a motherfucking op. And I cannot believe this film legit had us rooting for them. I blame it on their kid. Their cute daughter with the hi mommy when Monica was about to play in her WNBA game. That kid had our hormones going haywire with her adorableness. Also made Q infinitely more attractive in that moment when, with the little hand wave. I blame it on the kid. Of course, these are just my thoughts and opinions. As always, I would love to hear yours. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you love and basketball? Hate it? Are indifferent to it? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you've watched this far and haven't done so yet. Share this if you want. Support me on Patreon if you can. If you can't, however, do consider checking out my other channels. One is my gaming channel and the other holds my ASMR content. Both are linked in the description bar if you are interested in checking them out. Whichever the case may be, I will see you tomorrow with a new video. Until then, do remember, obsessing over the things you love, perfectly valid coping mechanism.